The moment he knew. There are moments in life that change everything. Moments when the future we imagine dissolves in an instant. For 28-year-old software engineer Daniel Hayes, that moment came on a Wednesday evening in October 2021, when he accepted a ride from someone he thought was a friend. This is Daniel's story. A story about trust, betrayal, and a family's relentless pursuit of truth. Before we dive in, I want you to know who Daniel was. Not just how he died, but how he lived. Daniel Joseph Hayes was born on May 12, 1993, in Portland, Oregon. He was the youngest of 3 children, raised by his mother, Carol Hayes, an elementary school teacher, and his father, Robert Hayes, a firefighter. Those who knew Daniel describe him as kind, brilliant, and deeply loyal. His older sister, Melissa, recalls how he would spend hours helping her with math homework, never once making her feel inadequate for struggling with concepts that came naturally to him. Danny had this way of explaining things, Melissa said in a 2022 interview. He never talked down to anyone. He just wanted people to understand. Daniel graduated from Oregon State University in 2015 with a degree in computer science. By 2021, he was working as a software developer for a tech startup in Seattle, Washington. His co-workers remember him as someone who brought donuts to Monday meetings, who stayed late to help junior developers debug their code, who genuinely cared about the people around him. He had recently started dating a woman named Sarah Chun, whom he'd met through a mutual friend. Sarah described Daniel as the most thoughtful person I'd ever met. He remembered every little thing I told him. Daniel lived in a modest apartment in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. He enjoyed hiking, playing guitar, and hosting game nights for his small circle of friends. He called his mother every Sunday without fail. This was Daniel's life, ordinary in the best way, filled with people who loved him, a life he expected to continue for many more decades. But on October 13th, 2021, everything changed. That Wednesday started like any other. Daniel woke up at 7 a.m., made coffee, and logged into work by 8:30. His co-workers exchanged messages with him throughout the day. At 3:47 p.m., he sent a text to Sarah. "Can't wait to see you this weekend. I found this great hiking trail we should try." At 5:15 p.m., Daniel logged off work. Security footage from his apartment building shows him leaving at 5:42 p.m., carrying a backpack. He was heading to meet a friend, someone he trusted. That friend was Marcus Webb, and Marcus had other plans for that evening. Marcus Webb and Daniel Hayes met in 2019 at a local rock climbing gym. They bonded over their shared love of the outdoors and quickly became friends. Marcus was 31 years old, 3 years older than Daniel, and worked as a freelance graphic designer. On the surface, Marcus seemed like a good guy. He was charming, funny, and adventurous. Daniel's friends noticed that Marcus sometimes had a darker edge, a tendency to hold grudges, to talk about people behind their backs. But Daniel saw the good in everyone. Danny always gave people the benefit of the doubt, Melissa explained, even when maybe he shouldn't have. In the months leading up to October 2021, something had shifted in Marcus's life. He'd fallen behind on rent. His freelance work had dried up. He'd borrowed money from several friends, including Daniel, promising to pay it back as soon as things turned around. Daniel had lent Marcus $3,500 over the course of 6 months. He never pressured Marcus to repay him. In fact, he told Marcus more than once, "Don't worry about it. Just get back on your feet." But Marcus was drowning in debt, and desperation can transform people into monsters. October 13th, Marcus texted Daniel at 4:32 p.m. "Hey man, I know this is random, but I'm heading out to that trailhead we talked about near Snoqualmie. Want to come? I can pick you up around 6. Daniel hesitated. It was a Wednesday evening. and he had an early meeting the next morning. But he hadn't seen Marcus in a few weeks, and the idea of getting out into nature was appealing. At 5:03 p.m., Daniel texted back, "Sure, sounds good. I'll be ready." At 6:12 p.m., Marcus pulled up outside Daniel's apartment building in his silver Honda Accord. Security footage shows Daniel walking out, waving, and getting into the passenger seat. They were captured on traffic cameras heading east on Interstate 90, leaving Seattle. At 6:47 p.m., Daniel sent his last text message, a photo of the sunset from the car window, sent to Sarah with the caption, "Beautiful night." Sarah responded, "Gorgeous. Have fun and be safe, Red Heart." Daniel never read that message. What happened next was reconstructed through forensic evidence, witness testimony, and Marcus's own eventual confession. Instead of driving to the trailhead, Marcus took a series of back roads into a remote, heavily forested area about 40 miles east of Seattle. Daniel, who had been checking his phone, looked up and realized they weren't on the route he expected. "Where are we going?" Daniel asked. Marcus didn't answer immediately. He kept driving, deeper into the woods, until the paved road turned to gravel, then dirt. And that's when Daniel felt it, the cold, sinking realization that something was very, very wrong. "Marcus, seriously, where are we?" Daniel asked again, his voice now edged with concern. Marcus pulled the car off the dirt road and into a small clearing, surrounded by thick trees. He turned off the engine. The silence was deafening. "I need you to get out of the car," Marcus said. Daniel's heart was racing. He looked around. No other cars. No homes. No one for miles. "What's going on?" Daniel asked, his hand moving toward the door handle. Marcus pulled out a handgun from beneath his seat. And in that moment, that terrible, irreversible moment, Daniel knew he wasn't going home. When Daniel didn't come home that night, Sarah tried calling him. No answer. She texted him. No response. By Thursday morning, when Daniel didn't show up for work and still hadn't contacted anyone, his co-workers grew concerned. His manager called his emergency contact, his mother, Carol. Carol immediately knew something was wrong. Daniel never missed work. He never ignored calls from his family. At 11:37 a.m. on October 14th, Carol Hayes filed a missing person report with the Seattle Police Department. The investigation moved quickly. Detectives reviewed Daniel's phone records, his last known location, and security footage from his apartment building. They saw him get into Marcus Webb's car. They called Marcus. He didn't answer. On October 15th, 2 days after Daniel disappeared, King County Sheriff's deputies went to Marcus's apartment. His car was parked outside, but Marcus wasn't home. Inside the vehicle, investigators found Daniel's backpack, still containing his phone, wallet, and keys. The discovery sent chills through the investigation team. If Daniel's belongings were in the car, but Daniel wasn't, where was he? A massive search operation was launched. Volunteers, K-9 units, and helicopters scoured the forest east of Seattle. Daniel's face was plastered across news broadcasts. His family held press conferences, pleading for information. Carol Hayes stood in front of cameras, her voice breaking. "Danny, if you're out there, we love you. We're looking for you. Please come home." But deep down, Carol knew. A mother knows. On October 18th, 5 days after Daniel vanished, a hiker stumbled upon a shallow grave in a remote section of forest near Snoqualmie Pass. The body was Daniel Hayes. The autopsy revealed that Daniel had died from a gunshot wound to the head. He had been killed shortly after being taken to that remote location. Evidence suggested he had tried to run. Dirt under his fingernails, scrapes on his hands, signs of a desperate attempt to escape. But he never had a chance. Marcus Webb had shot him execution style and buried him in a grave he'd likely dug beforehand. With Daniel's body recovered, the investigation shifted to finding Marcus Webb. He'd vanished the same day Daniel went missing, leaving behind his apartment, his car, and everything else. But Marcus had made mistakes. He'd used his credit card to buy gas in Idaho on October 14th. He'd withdrawn cash from an ATM in Montana on October 15th. He was running, but he was leaving a trail. On October 21st, 8 days after killing Daniel, Marcus Webb was arrested at a motel in Billings, Montana. He was alone, disheveled, and, according to the arresting officers, resigned to what was coming. When detectives interrogated Marcus, he initially denied everything, but faced with overwhelming evidence, Daniel's belongings in his car, his fingerprints on the shovel used to dig the grave, his own digital footprint across multiple states, Marcus finally broke. He confessed. In his confession, Marcus Webb described what happened that night in chilling detail. He admitted that he'd planned to kill Daniel. He'd lured him out under the pretense of a hike. He'd chosen the remote location in advance. He'd brought a gun and a shovel. But why? Why would someone kill a friend who had shown him nothing but kindness? Marcus's answer was as devastating as it was senseless money. Daniel had mentioned in passing that he'd received a year-end bonus from work, around $15,000. Marcus, drowning in debt and facing eviction, became fixated on the idea that if Daniel was gone, no one would know that Marcus owed him $3,500. And maybe, just maybe, he could access Daniel's accounts and take more. It was a plan born of desperation, greed, and a complete moral collapse. Marcus admitted that when he ordered Daniel out of the car and pulled the gun, Daniel had begged for his life. "Please, Marcus, whatever this is, we can figure it out. Just don't do this," Daniel had said. But Marcus fired anyway. There are no words to describe the grief that Daniel's family felt when they learned these details. No words for the rage, the confusion, the utter senselessness of losing someone to such cruelty. Carol Hayes, Daniel's mother, delivered a victim impact statement at Marcus Webb's sentencing hearing in June 2022. Her words were raw, heartbreaking, and powerful. "You took my son from me," she said, looking directly at Marcus. "You took him for money, for something so meaningless, so temporary. You took a man who trusted you, who helped you, who saw good in you even when others didn't. And you killed him. You buried him like he was nothing. But he was everything to us. He was my son. He was Melissa's brother. He was Sarah's love. He was a friend, a colleague, a good man. And you threw all of that away." Marcus Webb showed no emotion during the statement. In July 2022, Marcus Webb was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge, in delivering the sentence, called the crime a profound betrayal of trust and a senseless act of violence driven by greed. Marcus will spend the rest of his life behind bars, but for Daniel's family, no sentence could ever bring him back. Today, Daniel Hayes is remembered not for how he died, but for how he lived. His family established the Daniel Hayes Memorial Scholarship, which provides financial assistance to computer science students at Oregon State University, Daniel's alma mater. To date, the scholarship has helped 12 students pursue their dreams, just as Daniel once did. Sarah Chun, Daniel's girlfriend, still hikes the trails they plan to explore together. She says it's her way of keeping his memory alive. Melissa Hayes speaks at events about the importance of recognizing warning signs in relationships and friendships. "Danny trusted too easily," she says. "And while I never want to lose that part of him, the part that saw good in everyone, I want others to protect themselves. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is." Daniel's story is a reminder that evil can wear a familiar face, that danger doesn't always announce itself, and that the people we trust most can sometimes be the ones who hurt us deepest. But it's also a reminder of the power of love, resilience, and memory. Daniel Hayes lived 28 years. He touched countless lives. He was loved. He is missed. And as long as we tell his story, he will never be forgotten. In the days following Daniel's body being recovered, investigators began reconstructing the final hours of his life in meticulous detail. Digital forensic analysts extracted data from Daniel's phone, laptop, and cloud accounts. They mapped his movements minute by minute, every message, every login, every silent gap where he should have been active. What they found painted a heartbreaking picture. Daniel had searched for hiking trails that afternoon. He'd bookmarked routes near Snoqualmie. He had fully believed Marcus's story. Meanwhile, Marcus's digital footprint told a very different story. In the week leading up to October 13th, Marcus had searched phrases like, "Remote forest roads, Washington. How deep should a grave be? How to wipe phone data permanently?" These searches would later become central evidence in court. Detectives also uncovered text messages Marcus had sent to other friends, messages asking for money, couch space, just until things stabilized. One friend declined and later told police Marcus had reacted with quiet anger. He didn't lash out. He didn't threaten. He just withdrew. And then he made a decision. For Daniel's family, those 5 days between his disappearance and the discovery of his body were unbearable. Carol Hayes barely slept. She kept Daniel's bedroom light on at night, as if he might walk through the door at any moment. Melissa replayed their last conversation over and over in her head, searching for something she'd missed. A tone, a pause, a warning. Robert Hayes, a firefighter who had spent decades responding to emergencies, found himself powerless for the first time in his life. "There's nothing worse," he later said, "than knowing something is wrong and being unable to fix it." The media attention was relentless. Reporters camped outside the family home. Speculation ran wild online. But the Hayes family never lost focus, said, "Find Daniel. Bring him home." No matter what that meant, Marcus didn't flee immediately out of fear. According to investigators, he fled out of calculation. He believed, wrongly, that if enough time passed, if evidence degraded, if Daniel was never found, he could disappear into the background of America's endless highways. He shaved his beard, changed clothes, paid cash when he could. But modern life leaves fingerprints everywhere. Gas station cameras, motel logs, ATM withdrawals. Each stop Marcus made only narrowed the circle. By the time he reached Montana, law enforcement was already waiting. When officers knocked on Marcus Webb's motel room door in Billings, there was no dramatic chase, no resistance. Marcus opened the door slowly. He looked exhausted, hollowed out. One officer later said, "It felt like he'd been running from himself more than from us." As he was led away in handcuffs, Marcus asked one question. Did they find him? They had. During interrogation, Marcus tried to frame the killing as something that got out of hand. But investigators didn't let him hide behind that narrative. They walked him through the evidence piece by piece. The pre-dug grave, the shovel, the gun, the route. Finally, Marcus stopped talking, and then he broke. He admitted he'd rehearsed the moment in his head. He admitted he'd chosen Daniel because Daniel was kind. He wouldn't fight back. Marcus said quietly, he'd try to talk. And that was true. Daniel didn't scream. He didn't attack. He tried to reason with a friend he trusted. That was his final mistake. Marcus Webb's trial began in May 2022. The courtroom was packed every day. Friends of Daniel sat behind his family, wearing blue ribbons, Daniel's favorite color. The prosecution laid out the case with devastating clarity. They showed Daniel's final text. They played surveillance footage. They presented the shovel. The defense argued desperation, mental strain, financial pressure, but the jury wasn't persuaded. This wasn't a snap decision. It was a plan. Sarah Chun took the stand on the fourth day of the trial. Her voice shook as she read Daniel's last message aloud. "I still don't delete it," she told the court. "It's the last time he was happy." She described the future they'd talked about. Trips, shared apartments, children. A future that ended in a forest because someone chose greed over humanity. When Marcus Webb was sentenced to life without parole, the courtroom was silent. No outburst, no apology, just the finality of a door closing forever. As Marcus was led away, he never once looked at Daniel's family. Grief doesn't end when a trial does. It changes shape. Carol still sets an extra place at the table on holidays, then quietly removes it. Melissa channels her grief into advocacy, education, awareness. Robert volunteers with youth mentorship programs, teaching young men about accountability, empathy, and choices. Because one choice destroyed everything. Daniel Hayes' life continues in the lives he inspired, through scholarships, through stories, through the people who choose kindness in his name. His death was violent, but his life was gentle, and that matters. Thank you for listening to Daniel's story. His life mattered. His memory matters. This has been Sinister Secrets. Let's dive in to remembering those we've lost and ensuring their stories are never forgotten.